So I made a little chart last video that I did, and I wanted to go ahead and take a segue into what I think now makes sense with Xbox's hardware. Now, those of you in the comment section, you've been telling me that Xbox's hardware, you guys suspect that it's going to be probably a big innovation. Now, I did not ignore you, don't get me wrong. I was trying to make sense of it, okay? In the end of that other video, I mentioned something before I finished it up. I ended the video right there. And that video was pretty much to analyze and see if there's any reason why Xbox would leave the console business. And based on the data that I saw and looking at, say, even some other possibilities, it's not feasible for them to do so, because if you look at this green number right here, right, this green bar chart, this green bar on the bar chart, that's Game Pass. And Game Pass is intricately tied to the console business. So let's say this is Xbox's business. This is Game Pass. This is console. This is, what was the other thing on that one? This is PC. This is cloud. This is PlayStation. Right? I don't even know what I put this box for. And let's just leave it there anyways. So you have all these different systems together. Game Pass is not going anywhere because it's actually the moneymaker. Console is not going anywhere. It's tied to Game Pass. PC is a steady because it makes 70%. PlayStation is a growth paradigm because that's what it's there for. Because now PlayStation is, basically Xbox is now making cash and so looking for ways to grow. And then cloud is also not going anywhere because it's now intricately tied to console. It's intricately tied to Game Pass. It's intricately tied to PC. The ecosystem is all tied up. These things aren't going to PlayStation other than games, which are basically software. So software is intricately tied to all of the above. So Xbox is not going to not make software. They have to do that and then to PlayStation. Now, this video is basically here to point out, since at the core of everything you have the console, the only conclusion that you can draw is that Xbox has the incentive to actually make a value proposition for a console that subverts the entire industry. And that subversion is now what you guys have been talking about making more sense, that Xbox is going to make a potential console with some PC functionality hybrid. That is basically what I think might eventually happen with the next Xbox console. I'm willing to now draw that hypothesis, and I know it's not a new one. Many of you have been saying it. I'm willing to draw that hypothesis now because I don't see any reason for Xbox not to press on and grow this particular, number here. Think about it. There's no reason for them not to go ahead and say, why not we grow consoles now that we're seeing the potential of Game Pass and seeing how it's tied intricately, but also why don't we go ahead and do something that we think is subversive? The market is probably not going to expect or see it. And in this case, it will probably help us not only just grow Game Pass. If you notice, they want to go ahead and grow Game Pass and maybe add more because it's all tied in. It will help us also grow software sales. It would also help us grow cloud users. It would also help us grow our presence in the gaming industry and give our users a full capability for everything that we offer. And what I mean by that is, if you think about this, Xbox Play Anywhere is something that Xbox has basically touted many times. They've talked about it. Oh, you can play your games anywhere. I went ahead and I looked around and I saw that, there's about 1,000-ish games that are Xbox Play Anywhere games. These Xbox Play Anywhere games, are all over the place. And pretty much if you buy one copy of the game, you can go ahead and play and have access to multiple versions, which is the PC version and the console version. For the person that has the console version and doesn't have a PC, what does that benefit them? Right? But what if they had a console that had access to PC features? What if they had that? What if they had something that was a console but had access to a PC-like back end where they could enjoy the different aspects of what PC has to offer. And what if Xbox is not responsible for that particular hardware solo? Maybe it's actually brought in by Dell and all these other makers out there. I mean, that one is a stretch, though. I think Xbox is still going to control its own software. Its own hardware. I think so, because there's an incentive for it. So let's basically let's dial back. Let's dial that one back. But what if they could actually offer that interface and maybe build out more functionality on the Xbox console? Because the Xbox Series consoles right now are already flirting with the idea. You can use a mouse and a keyboard. You can do some tasks, not a lot of tasks. But what if they said, hey, man, you can just take your Xbox anywhere with you, and it's like a portable computer that you can run with? Because the Series S, you can already mount that Series S to like a screen and use it for portable gaming and such. What if they go ahead and iterate the next device to be able to give you much more? Basically, something that would work like a gaming laptop, but it will still go ahead and brand it Xbox and still give you that Xbox interface. And then if you decide when you boot up your Xbox, because just like you would for an operating system, you have access to, other layers underneath it. I strongly believe that this is probably Xbox's incentive for the hardware side, and for them to perpetually be able to make hardware in a way where you can have access to this from the operating system side. Now, here's the other thing. The hardware, in the way that they make it, I wonder if they're basically going to be able to go and innovate in a way where they can say, you know what? Here's your base standard Xbox. And then you can make modifications to the hardware that actually make the hardware much beefier as time goes on. Where you get to choose your own mid-gen refresh. You don't have to wait for Xbox to come out there and make you a mid-gen refresh. You can go ahead and say, hey, I want to go ahead and make this upgrade or make that upgrade. But again, that might be too complicated for a lot of folk who play on console. And it's not like I'm saying that they're not going to be able to deal with it, but some folk don't want to deal with all of that. But the possibilities, and what I'm making this video for, is that the possibilities are, pretty much in Xbox's, court, where they can do whatever it is that they want. And as Phil has said, that the mark and the measure of what they think a console should be judged on and based on is the innovation and the value that it can actually bring. And ladies and gentlemen, I think with all of Xbox's business already set up, and with the way Game Pass is basically their bread and butter right now, and their software sales all over the place, making them and giving them growth, I think they can actually leverage that to continue to grow the avenues that give them the highest yield. They need a hardware piece for Game Pass to be a thing. They need something. And cloud is not there yet. Cloud doesn't have as much Game Pass subscribers, right? And PC does not have as much Game Pass subscribers. It's console that's basically holding it. So at least I foresee 2 to 3 more generations of Xbox consoles. Now, they could go ahead and pull the plug on me and say, we're not doing this anymore. But again, like I've said in my other video, it will mean Xbox is the dumbest dumbest venture to ever have been, pursued ever, and ever. These are my thoughts on what I think the future of Xbox hardware will look like. And they're just my hypotheses. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.